G'day, I'm Dan.
And I'm Kristy, and we call Canberra our home.
We work, we parent, contribute to our community, living the Australian suburban dream.
With 4 kids, a dog, 2 businesses, large extended family, friends scattered all over the globe, we struggle at times.
But we do it all by embracing the crazy. And this helps us laugh, smile, cry, and brings meaning to our lives.
So join us and share the journey of our modern Australian family madness and embrace the crazy. Hey guys.
So today we're talking about entitled kids. Oh, we don't have them, but we're just talking about what we see out in the world there.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, maybe there's some truth in some displays in our house from time to time.
There is. And I don't know whether it's a generational thing or whether kids have always been entitled or people just generally.
Oh, back in my days, that never happened.
We talk about it a lot, don't we?
I think there's entitlement everywhere. And I think back to when we were kids, I know our parents were saying the same thing as well. So I think it is a reality. So I guess today we're talking a little bit about why is it the case? What do we do?
Why we think it is.
And what do we do to try and keep it in check? And how are we going to move forward with, I guess, continuing to improve our situation?
Yeah.
So let's start with it as to why.
Look, I don't know. Is it to do with an age? Do kids become a certain age and then just go, well, the world revolves? Or do kids just normally think the world revolves around me from a tiny age? And I would say, yes, they think the world revolves around them. So then they get into this cycle of, well, I'm entitled to that because the world revolves around me. And I'm not saying that I'm not the same. I think we all feel that way, don't we?
I also think a big thing, Kristy, is the way that we bring up our kids.
Yeah.
The opportunities that we give them, the things that we give them, even the way that we talk about things. And, I talk about the we here, but this is a big thing that I do. I'm not, I think it's not a good example sometimes is, you dream about things, you talk about things that you want and you want to do. And I think it creates some of that culture. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that. I would say definitely in our house, and I've spoken about this many times. I want to do this. I want to do this. You're never happy. You're never content. I want to do this. I want to do this. I'm driving. What's next? What's happening? Let's keep moving. And I think that's, you want to do that? Yeah, you can do that. And I think that's great. I think it's fantastic. But there has to be some reality check there. Well, yes, you can do that, but you have to do X, Y, and Z to get there. It's not just bam, you get it. There's a whole lot of work behind it, and I look at the way we spend our time and the way we do things. We work really hard, and we've always worked really hard to be in a position where we can do special things and do things that we really want to do. We're not always. That hasn't been the case always. But I think it's also teaching the children that if you want this, yes, you can do it, but you need to do these things first. And that could be as simple as, Mum, I want to go to a friend's house. Well, you need to do your homework. You need to tidy your room. You need to do this. You need to do that before you can go and do that. And I think that's, keeping them in check, not just, oh, yeah, sure, sure, go out. You can do whatever you like. And there's no ramifications to that. There has to be, some kind of lead up to things because we want our children to be functioning members of society. And if they just go out with their friends all the time and leave all their house chores and all the things that they need to do to be able to function, that's not going to be a great place for them.
Yeah, it's hard looking in the mirror sometimes, isn't it? And I think this is a great example where what you do is what they become. But I think one thing that I would call out is that I think what you just said, we work hard.
Yeah.
And so I think when you work hard, you're able to not get what you want, but you're able to work towards more what you want. And I really try and instill that in our kids. I know you know that, but that's one thing that is really important to me is that, and I want them to see if you do work hard, you can get things.
Yeah.
Like I think that's really important. But I sometimes feel like the message is a bit lost. And I don't know what you think about that, but sometimes I think, okay, great, they've worked hard and they've saved up to do something and they've bought something, but then I think maybe that wasn't the right lesson because I'm not sure they really value it.
No.
And really understood the lesson of their work and really how much value that was that they actually did.
Yeah, and it's a tricky one because as parents, you don't want to make your children's lives so hard that they can't do anything, but you also want to you also want to spoil them, and you want to give them things that that they'll love, or that they've really identified that they really enjoy. So, and it's really hard, and it's not just things that have a monetary value either. Like I said, going to a mate's house, that's something that intrinsically they really value. No monetary value involved in that, and doing the jobs to get there, there's no monetary value to that either. But I think it's all about intrinsic motivation and how parents often use their influence to make their kids entitled. Well, you're the best at this, so you must get that. And I'm going to go and fight for you. I'm going to fight tooth and nail because you deserve that. But the child mightn't deserve that.
Or hasn't got it.
Or hasn't received that.
For whatever reason.
For whatever, whatever's happened, they haven't put the work in. They haven't done all of the things that they need to do in order to get to that point. But if parents go in, like if we go in and fight for our children every step of the way, they're never going to learn anything. So it doesn't have to be a saving up for something or a monetary value. It's just about the intrinsic value we place on it and how we communicate that to our children, and also the intrinsic value they place on it as well.
I think they're great examples. I mean, behaviour is the biggest one, isn't it?
It is.
That's the biggest, I guess, challenge that we see around entitlement, and that whole set of ways is really behavioural is the biggest one.
Yeah.
And I would argue though that we see a lot of that in our house, whereas outside you see much less of that, isn't it? And I think you got to obviously keep that in check, don't you? Inside they're vulnerable, they're open, and so you will see a lot of those entitled behaviours where you think, where did that come from? Who taught you that? How did that even come across? Or why do you even think like that?
Yeah.
But I guess it is within the zone of inside, and that when they're out in the real world and engaging with people, that provided that you've done a lot of the right things and invested in all of those ways, that a lot of that entitlement doesn't come out. And I think on the outside, I haven't seen a lot of that. I don't know what you think. Do you agree?
No, yeah, I agree. But yeah, I haven't seen it a lot from our children outside of the house. But yes, there is parts of their conversation that come up and I think, oh, how did that come about? But, and I don't know whether that's just how they think. I don't think it might not be an external influence from either of us. But it's an interesting thing to talk about, I think. And I think it comes down to the family values that we're instilling in our children. If we make sure that they know hard work and they know how to do things, and they know that step by step you'll get to this, you'll achieve this thing, A, B, and C equals D, 1, 2, 3, equals 4. I think if we can show them that rather than just giving them things, it's really helpful. And we're not saying we spoil our kids. I put my hand up, we spoil our kids rotten. Yeah. But there's other times where we say, well, there's certain ways we can, you can earn that whatever it is.
Monetary, non-monetary, whatever it may be. Yeah, I agree.
And I think we have to just be we have to keep it in check a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that's probably the value of the partnership, that we have, and whether that's your partnership or someone else that you can bounce off to really check whether that makes sense or not. And I think, Kristy, you're very good at this. You're really that moderator that says, no, they're not getting a dirt bike. Why are they getting a dirt bike? They don't need a dirt bike until they're 18.
This
kills my life. I've got to be honest.
They don't need a dirt bike ever.
And I guess I'm getting back to the monetary, which is such a bad example. But it's, I think you're very helpful with saying, okay, yeah, you're right. We don't even have a place to write it. So that does make some sense. And yes, if they really, really did want it, well, they would save up and work for it and do whatever they wanted to be able to get it. So maybe it's entitled parents versus kids sometimes in this process.
Maybe.
I feel like I can see where we're getting to here.
Yeah, this is the path I'm leading down.
Yeah, very good, very good. Okay, so we've talked about entitled children, and I guess maybe looking in the mirror a little bit here, maybe it's a lot about the parents and the way in which they're being brought up and the values in which they have. And I think what a great lesson to talk a little bit about how you can instill the right values in your children and in your family and show it by example. And maybe that's the answer to overcoming this entitlement. And maybe there is a little bit of entitlement in the home, and maybe that's okay. Yeah. But in the end, I guess we're looking for what are the right values that they're distilling in day to day, and how are we helping them to get to that process?
And my question to you guys is, if you have any answers, send them our way. We need some help.
I'm the work in progress. Have a great week, everyone.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.